Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this channel, of course, you know we talk about all things fandom, and we talk about them in a positive way. And if that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so happy to have you here. And today is Thursday. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Welcome to Derry trailer that just came out. I'm going to break it down and give you my thoughts on this new footage that we've seen and what exactly I think will happen. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so the Welcome to Derry trailer has dropped. And when you're dealing with a Stephen King property, there's been so many adaptations of Stephen King stuff that it's become one of those things. You don't have to stick to the source material completely because they've done TV shows, movies, miniseries, all the stuff, all these updated adaptations. If you look at the original little It miniseries from all the way back in the day, that is not a true adaptation of the Stephen King novel. However, it is the adaptation that most people are used to, and thus the one that people have the most nostalgia for. And then you have the newer one that came out, It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, which was split into two movies, and that did pretty good. I thought that those movies were awesome. That is the basis for this TV show, and it kind of brings back the same Pennywise from the movies, which is going to be great anyway, because that actor as Pennywise is brilliant. Let's face it, Bill Skarsgård is one of those people I believe is destined for a lot of different horror roles. He's not so much your actor that you call for action movies, although I think in the right situation he could do something there. He's not really your comical guy. His whole look and demeanor and the way that he can do horror is something that is just brilliant. And I personally love him as Pennywise the Clown. So when they announced that this was going to be a thing and that the It series, Welcome to Derry, was going to have him in it, of course I was immensely excited about that because he is terrifying. It does have some new actors that have come in to this. Not really anybody that you're going to recognize. But let's break down what the trailer was actually about. It opens up with you seeing a kid hitchhiking, and this couple says, hey, we're going to take you in because we're going to get you home. We're going to get you home to your parents. And the kid, we cut to this little scene of him in the car, and the kid tells him any place but Derry. So he doesn't want to go back to Derry. Apparently he's from there. He knows what goes on. And they kind of leave it at that. Then we get to meet a brand new family that is moving into Derry. And this brand new family, the kid instantaneously aligns himself with what is going to be our losers club. And they essentially start trying to look at what the history of Derry is. Why are kids disappearing in Derry all the time? That's kind of the thing. So once again, we're taken back into that same mystery that we know, that we kind of know the answer to. But could this be more of an origin story? Like I said, this is sort of not going to be true to what the original book was because none of the adaptations have been completely true. So yes, they could extend the lore and sort of explore what makes Pennywise Pennywise if they wanted to, a lot more than just what you saw in the book, than just what you've heard them say in the movie. It could be explored and we could see more of his time in Derry. So the kid's quickly drawn into that mystery. We see a lot of really creepy scenes, people looking through the windows, smiling, and all this other stuff. And then they're talking to the police about something, and the police officer gets this really creepy look on his face, and he says, keep your noses out of the business of the police. Yeah. And then, of course, one girl hears the voices in her sink pipes. We see something big is going to happen in this theater. Now, what what that is, we don't know. But all of a sudden, they're running for the doors. It looks like it's in the theater. They're running for the doors, and you don't get to see them open. This trailer delivers on all the nice little scares and moments that make me want to watch this show and see what is going on. Here's where I'm at with it. I think that this series is going to be good, and I can't wait to see what they do. However, it has me a little bit afraid, if I'm being honest, because if they do this wrong, then it doesn't take away from any of the movies that you liked or take away from the book, but this would kind of make it so that that film could not continue on as any sort of extension for at least a little while. And that's the problem with expanding something like it, is if it does fail, you're going to be lost for a little bit in terms of expanding it into something else. And I do think there's so much stories to do here, but it doesn't look like they're going to fail at this. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they have a really good sort of handle on what they're doing, and it looks like they know what they're doing. All of the kids, at least as far as I could tell, seem likable, and a lot of the adults in this trailer kind of just seemed creepy, and that makes me curious, because are they creepy because we're only getting to see the ones that are influenced somehow by Pennywise? Is it because they don't believe the kids and therefore they kind of have this sort of smile, like, yeah, right, type of thing? But whatever it is, they look creepy. The adults in the trailer are not helping the kids. They really don't look like they are. And that's going to make this even more scary, because who do they turn to? Anytime you have a horror movie or a horror series where you have a group that can't turn to anyone for help, that's always more scary than if they have someone that will help them. And I think that's what made the It book work, was that the adults forgot. Once you grew up, you forgot about Pennywise. He's the boogeyman, essentially. You forgot about him, and only the losers remembered. And that's the thing. This is our new group of losers in this whole thing, the Losers Club, and they're going to explore this mystery, and they're going to have to defeat Pennywise. And they're not going to get any help from the adults, because the adults aren't going to remember anything about it, despite the fact that this isn't his first rodeo either. We're not getting to see, in this trailer at least, anything resembling a flashback to his very first years in Derry. So it looks like it's going to be a fun series. It looks like it takes place a little bit farther in the past, and that's not a bad thing. That's going to make it have more of a drama type of angle to it too. Some of those period pieces, they can add a certain amount of drama that you just can't get if you do a modern take. So I do like that they took it back into a period piece type of thing, and I think that's going to work for the series. Now, we didn't get much of a look at Pennywise in this, but we do know that Bill Skarsgård does appear in the series. So we know that he's going to be playing Pennywise, and I assume he's going to be playing various incarnations of Pennywise. My thought is that they're going to get him to do as many of these creepy monster type of things that Pennywise can turn into and can do as possible. So I think that that is a good thing for this too, because we've heard that streaming rights allow for a little bit more than your movies do. Like we heard that with the Jason Voorhees stuff, with the Jason Voorhees series, how they could use any incarnation of Jason Voorhees that they had. And the reason they could do that is because it was streaming. So that was it. But then we also know that with the Jason Voorhees stuff right now, they just released this whole new look for Jason Voorhees, and that's apparently what's going to be all of his stuff going forward. So while they can use those incarnations in the Crystal Lake series. I think we're not going to get that there, but I think that might be the reason we get that theater scene in the show. I am 1,000% down for them to do that if that's what that's going to be. But it left a lot of mystery as to what is going to happen in this series and sort of how these kids are going to go about stopping Pennywise. We assume it's the traditional type of way. Of course, you know, in the book, they have a whole other way. We're not getting into any of that because if you know, you know, and they can't do that anywhere. Not on movies, not in television, nothing, and nor should they. It is one of the most controversial scenes in any book, and it still would be controversial in any sort of TV show, and they just could not do it. So I think that we're not going to get to see that, of course. So we're going to get to see the way they did it in the movie, where, you know, they end up fighting them and they end up defeating him. I think we'll get something similar, but I'm hoping that this series isn't only one season. I hope that each season takes us to a different era. If this season is successful of Welcome to Derry, then I think it would be good to take us into several different eras of his existence, like take us farther back or a little bit farther forward. It doesn't matter. You can take us anywhere within the series because Pennywise has been around for a very long time. But I want to know what you guys are thinking. Do you think this is going to be a good series? Do you think it's going to be a bad series? Did you see this trailer? What did you think of it if you saw it? If you haven't seen it, watch it. Let me know what you thought of it because I want to hear from all of you on all of this. So make sure you are leaving me that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends so we could all be a part of this crazy conversation at this big virtual water cooler. And then make sure you're hitting that like button. It's free. It helps the channel. And we really appreciate it. Then make sure that while you're hitting that like button, you go over, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video we do. And friends, at the end of the day, you know it and I know it. Fandom is family.